Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today, howdy, Beefalo Bart here, and welcome. Still getting used to the new setup there. Alright, so I'm redoing the simple multiplayer Steam template and part of my core system and everything else, and I'm just working on this as a temporary project before I actually commit it to the actual project. And so far, there is no online in here just yet. I'm just getting the menu set up, and then I'll add that functionality in. So far, the only button I've added to the navigation bar, which will be down here, which I may or may not put a background behind it. I don't know yet. So you hit character, and you get two options, either name or mesh. I'm working on the functionality of the mesh now, but you hit name, you get a text bar, you click in it, and buttocks monkey. What's happening, brother? Literally, you can hit enter and you see it changes the name up here. So that will actually be the name of your character that will be committed to a save game and so forth, so that it transfers over from this character into your main character once you're in the actual map playing. So right now, temporarily, we have a main menu player, which doesn't do anything but stand here and look pretty. And once I go to the mesh functionality, which is where I'm going to continue on now. Um, but you can toggle by hitting the character button. There will be more buttons here. I just haven't made them yet. It'd be like single player, multiplayer. Um, when you go to multiplayer, it'll split between, because I keep getting people asking me about LAN functionality. I will set it up so you can select between LAN, online, and Steam. So you'll have all three instead of just Steam only. So if you're not using Steam, you can disable that and remove the button if you want. But there will be more buttons here, and just like with this, whenever you hit the button, it'll open up a new menu here, and then you can close it. And if there was another button here, it would come up in that same location. And I just kind of made a little cheesy Windows X button right here for the kill button, and added a click sound to it. So, the main menu, this is all I've got so far. This is what I'm doing here, and I really hadn't decided if I'm going to do an individual button here for each one, or if I'm just going to shrink this down, put a scroll bar where you can hit left and right, and when you hit the left button, it advances through. Because it's going to have to change. If you look at it, the player logo, this is for right now. This could be modified. Yeah, this is going to be the new look for the simple multiplayer Steam template. I'll change the map around a little bit too, just so it's something else in the background besides the third person example map. And I'm sure I'm going to move the select player name. I'll probably move it to right over here maybe, or down here, or whatever, just so it's there. But since I'm using a different mesh, let's actually show you what I've already got accomplished here. In the character, I've gone through and I've cleaned up the content folder. I've gotten rid of the extra stuff like the third person blueprint, BP folder, and the third person folder, and the mannequin folder. Everything has been moved into my own folders. And what I'll probably end up doing later on is maybe just making one folder and putting everything else inside there. But for the materials, created new materials. Essentially, now if you've already got it, just remind me and I will send you the new version for free. I'm not going to charge people twice for the same thing. This will just be the upgrade that I promised to do last year. So, yeah, I'm going to take care of the people who take care of me. So I've created a yellow. I left the original Looks like okay, yeah. Just remind me once it's actually functional. It's going to take me a couple days to get it all kind of refined a little bit and working correctly. And currently working on 423 version. So if you have other versions, just like before, all you have to do is just change the plugins folder with the link that I've got on Discord as well. So I created the logo and the body materials just basically by copying these. The easy way to do it is if I want to add another one in, just right click on the logo. Actually, you go into the logo, it's a material instance. You check on body color, select here, pick a new color. You know, if I want to give it a gray color or whatever, you know, brown, you know, you can actually just do that. And just once you save it, God, I did not save anything in that. Guess my butt. You can, you know, give it new names for each one too. But once I created the actual materials, I went through and created a new skeletal mesh. So that's actually what we're going to be changing in here because the mesh already has the materials in it. I was going through and doing a breakdown of all the materials for element 0 and element 1. And I'm like, you know what? You're just being stupid when you can change the skeletal mesh, and the skeletal mesh already have the color, so forth. So if you're actually doing this with other characters, like the Cindy Studios characters, instead of using the UE4 mannequin skeleton, then you can use the polygon skeleton, and then you can actually change the physical mesh here. You can add as many meshes as you want. So I think probably the best route is to actually do a left and right button so that you can change. Maybe later down the line might actually even put a name of the mesh that you're using, but that's just a little bit more complicated than is necessary for now. I think for now we'll just two buttons, one left, one right, to get things to work. Since I don't have any of the multiplayer stuff in here right now, I can show what I've done. So to get where your main navigation bar is down here, so this will be, I might even add another exit button in here as well. That's there and it functions as an exit button. But, you know, might be something else to add in here as well. So to get it to where when you click the button, it opens up another bar, and that's way too much spacing. I need to fix that too. To get that to pop up and go away, all you're doing is when you're creating these elements, like the horizontal bars that I'm using here, you can see I've got the name entry block hidden because it's right there in the same area where I'm putting the rest of these. When you're doing your horizontal boxes like this one right here, this one doesn't have a name yet. We'll call this mesh select bar. And then you need to make sure you check this box right here as is variable. That way you can tell it to be visible or not visible. And also whenever you're doing this in visibility, check it as hidden so that it's not there. It's not going to be visible until you select it. So what happens now is when we select the mesh, we want that bar to come up. So if I go over here to the mesh button, and giving everything proper names lets you navigate a lot easier. Once I've got it selected here, I can just scroll down and on click, and now I can give functionality to that. And all I want to do now is, since I made that mesh selector bar, and grab, get, and then actually let's make it to where it can be toggled on and off. And we'll just do a flop, and move you down here. Set visibility, and Control C and Control V. So I have a second one, and this one's going to be hidden and not collapsed. Collapsed is usable in some of these, but not for the way I'm doing this right here. So now this is just going to make it visible or hidden, even though I don't have anything in it yet. That's what I need to do now, is provide two buttons in here. And mesh selector bar. First button, and we'll add some text. And the text will do previous. And I'll just select it like that. I like how it's not in the middle there. I'll fix that in a minute here. But we just need to go ahead and change, add the second one in. And that's just a button and text. And this will be the previous button, previous mesh button. That way we know exactly what it is. And this one is next mesh button. Giving everything unique names is quite important. Text. Call this next. And select this here. Want everything to be in the middle. Got it already anchored to the bottom of the screen all the way across, which is this guy. And I can shrink it down as I need to. So do and fill. Let's actually go ahead and shrink it down. The offset left, let's do 800. Offset right, 800. Put some there. So just kind of clumps them up together, and there you get next and previous. Not sure why the text is bunched up at the bottom, but that's something to fix later. Let's do that and that. So we can still turn this bar on and off. So now that we got something in there, let's actually take a look at it. So we've got a character, mesh, and it'll scale itself based on how wide your screen is. So, all right. So if we do that, it only removes that one. So we want this one to go away if we select character as well. So we're going to have to add that functionality in to make it all work. So if we hit mesh, we can make it mesh go away. But if we hit character, we want all that to go away. So if we hit, that's the name entry, set name, edit character box or button. When we hit it, we're turning on and off the visibility of the character creation bar. So let's just make a little bit of room right there. And previous. So we need to make sure that that bar, what was that bar called? The mesh select bar. And we did not make that a variable. It says is variable mesh select bar. Yeah, right there, dumbass. So we'll get that, and let's just see right here if we Control C and Control V. Plug this in here. So when we hit that the second time, we want to make sure that this is also hidden. So let's test it. And it's a lot of going back and forth. So if I want to do my character, I need to fix that next. And we'll do the mesh. Hit character, make everything go away. Okay, cool. Actually, let's test one thing here. Character, mesh, hit that, and then hit that. Okay, it doesn't go away. And then it does not come back until you hit it a second time. So that's a problem that I'm going to have to work on. Because if I hit that, I hit it again, hit this, it doesn't immediately come back up. So I'll figure that out later. So next thing I want to do is I want to move these buttons closer together. Just because of the looks wise. And that is the character creation bar. Change offset. So really that's all you have is when you're setting your character creation is your name and your mesh. So alright, so you do have some spacing between. Let's change our mesh. Now we need to add some functionality to these buttons, and name is not coming up. Okay, so if mesh button is up, we need to make sure that these go away. So that's another thing we have to fix. So set name button. You'll go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So I set my name, and it changes my name up here. Select mesh, but now I want to click on this. Click on set name button. I did put a little delay in there, so it gives the sound file long enough to play. Alright, so in here, I need to do basically the same thing here. I need to get my mesh select bar. And I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. I never said I was a professional. So if it is up, we want it to go away. And probably need to do it like something to check validity of it. So if I'm in this, then I need that to go away. But if I hit this, I need to ignore that and make this bar go away. There's going to be a lot of this crap going back and forth. And that's also, if that text is up, we need to make sure that the name entry block is also gone. There's other ways of doing this where you can actually call a new widget and replace a widget with a widget and that kind of stuff. Gee, let's do that. So that's going to hide it if it's visible. Yeah, there's always going to be a lot of back and forth. Go to name. Let's go back to mesh. All right, this did not go away. Name entry block is hidden. Oh, because I only put it there. Name entry block, set name. So we'll have to come back down here and do the same thing. So that needs to go away. Name entry block. You guys like the look of this so far, or I mean, it's one of those subjective things that the actual menu portion is going to be based on whoever's making the actual game. Mesh. Let's go to name. Go back to mesh. Yeah, see, I'm having to double click on it, so I'll have to come up with another way of doing that. So we just move on to the mesh selection. See, I had to double click on that too. So I'll refine how the button pushes. Might have to increase the gap there a little bit, but that's okay. So for next, we want to cycle through the actual meshes. And this is going to be jumbled up until I actually get everything organized. So in here, we have previous button, unclicked, and next button unclicked. So from here, we're going to be calling in our player BP. So let's go ahead and underscore player. So we're going to cast to get player character. See, at this point, there is no multiplayer. You're not going to see other players. This is a basic main menu. So you haven't connected to anything. So at this point, you're actually just creating your character and setting it up that way. So we're going to have to do set skeletal mesh. Get a mesh reference, and then this. And we're going to have to do the same thing down here as well. And start building some functionality. So, we're setting the skeletal mesh, but how are we going to set that skeletal mesh? What mesh are we going to get? Because if we just hit previous, we're going to go to 1, and next we're going to go to 1. So, it's a matter of, at this point, probably need to assign each of the meshes a number. Well, I'll put this in a custom event, so it's just a matter of plugging in the custom event and going. So the custom event will go here, and then it will go there. And probably do numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to get 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So yeah, there's 5 characters. Let me look at my functionality here. Actually, can go about this a different way. I'm going to go to my data folder and create a blueprint structure. Meshes. I'll probably rename that at some point. And we'll start this with white character. We'll just keep the name short. So white, and we're going to change this to skeletal mesh. Come down to here, skeletal mesh object reference, and we're going to let that be the SK mannequin skeleton. We'll save and add a new variable. This one's going to be blue man. And I just keep saving in between just in case. This is going to be green. Don't need you there. And this one's going to be red, blue, green, red. Then we'll have yellow after that. And since I already created this one, it's going to keep making each new thing that I add in here the same. So that's yellow. So save that. Now this meshes, I can call this anywhere that I want. So I can actually create a new variable here as well. And we'll do meshes to select, just to give it something. And here, I'm just going to go in here to meshes, hit compost and save. So now whenever I bring this variable into Git, then I can actually break it, and there's all my different options. So this is going to be the actual mesh that I'm going to use. So what I need to do is probably go ahead and assign them a number. Yeah, I just made shit up as I go along. I really didn't have anybody teaching me. I jumped on YouTube and watched for other people doing certain things, and one element at a time. Well, how do I do this? And then I went through and I just tried to learn from wherever I could. And a lot of stuff also just from how do I do something, and just right click and number, typing in number, get number of entities in a source effect chain, and just because a lot of stuff is just right here. You can just scroll through. And then, when you find something that get character as number, okay. And then you get a tooltip when it comes up. Gets a single character from the string as an integer. So source string. I'm like, okay, will that work for what I need? No. Not far off, but, the source string. Okay, well, what's that source string? Yeah, that's actually coming out as a string. And okay, so what if I came off from here and to string? But that would need to be an array. So I'd have to convert this over to an array so that I could then plug that into get character number. Yeah, it's just not going to work with what I want to do for right now. But that's basically how I learned a lot of stuff, is just experimenting with things and not being afraid to screw something up by working in a temporary project. And if I do screw it up, big deal. I can redo it in an hour. So just, I'd never be afraid of things. So how can I assign this as a number? Well, number of sockets. So I want to assign them a number so that whenever I hit forward and next, I am progressing in numbers. Integers. So you also have the ability to go in here, conversions to Boolean, byte, float, integer, decrement, subtract 1 from the specified value, and increment. And since right now I want to do decrement, we're working on minus. So this is actually going to subtract 1 from the number. And then we still need to assign a number. If so how would that be equal to? Equal to object? No. We want to be able to get this and set that as an integer. Ah, I got you. Yeah, I've got a couple different channels I use as well for other stuff besides just my usual channel. I've got some other channels that I'm working with. Um, create asset data. So this won't be a problem. And if I do, if this is equal to equal integer and number 1, and a branch, but we still have to get the rest of this, you know. So we hit that for previous. We wanted to subtract the number and then set the skeletal mesh to one of these. I guess I can start putting this in up there. Got to restructure all this. Now, I'll figure out how to tie this in here in just a minute. But at this point, set skeletal mesh to... So if it's equal to 1, then we'll set it to white. See, this is where a lot of coffee comes in and a lot of head scratching, trying to figure out, well, how can I do this correctly? And so I'm sure somebody will be watching this video saying, you idiot, do it this way. It's a live stream. Tell me. Because this part right here, okay, we can assign it as, is it 1? If the answer is yes, then, well, we can actually create another variable here. I need to move you out of the way. Just till I figure out what the hell I'm doing. So I can actually create this as a custom event and just plug the custom event there. But it may not be necessary. But yeah, let's go ahead and break this and create a new variable. Mesh to use. And we'll change that to skeletal mesh. But if we do that as an object reference, bring that in here, set skeletal mesh, if it's equal to 1, then use that mesh. So at this point, we can do, if it is not, then is it equal to, so we'll just put another branch in. This branch will go to here, so if false, then true, then use this, but we also need to do this and plug that in here. So if it is 2, and just so you're not as ugly, we'll shove you right there. So we'll plug that into there. So if it is not 1, if it is 1, use this one. If it's not, then is it number 2? If so, use this one. So now we can actually stack these. So this will be 3, 4, and 5. Steam, you can kiss firmly upon my ass. Stop bugging me. And then just go from the defaults to here. And then it'll search through all these. And then this will be green, red, and yellow. And I need to... So this will be 3, 4, and 5. And I'm probably shooting myself in the foot here. But we're just changing that variable. Probably actually need to make a variable that's an integer and go from there. So you need to go to U. But that's the thing, is spitballing your way through and saying, okay, will it be this? Will it be that? For all the spaghetti there, that don't look too bad, does it? All right, so this is subtraction, and we can actually do this and copy this and change that right there out. So we'll do custom event previous. Oh, it's going. So with this system right here, it's going to do a lot of different things. It's going to replace my simple multiplayer Steam template. I'm going to start building in the save game functionality built into this, and it's going to evolve into a lot more than just a simple multiplayer Steam template. It's going to evolve into a portion of the core mechanics of what I'm working on, so that people will have an easier way of getting started, and just instead of trying to worry about using everybody else's stuff and trying to make it all work. All right, so why don't you like that? This is okay, so we need an input into here. So let's create a variable. Mesh number. Change you to an integer. Yes, I know you don't like it. Are you happy now? Thank you. So this is going to activate the previous button. And this is setting mesh to use. And now I can bring this in here and get that. Plug the mesh to use into here. Now it's going to cycle through on the player. Now, that's lovely, but I have to get mesh number to use. So I actually probably need that up here. Have an idea in my brain there on that, because this I don't need here. Mesh number. If I plug this directly into there, it's still going to ask if that number is equal to a certain thing. So I think that's going to be what I need to do. Yeah, one of the big things that I'm doing is I want my simple multiplayer Steam template to be a certain way, and I've been promising and threatening an update for a long time. Alright, so name. So I want to have the simple multiplayer Steam template. I want to fix all of my problems, your problems, and everybody else's problems, all with this starter bundle. And when I get to a certain point with this part of it, then this will go out to people who have already bought the simple multiplayer Steam template as an upgraded version of the original. But after that point, I will have that separate just for you guys. This will be the new $20 happy template. Then I will keep developing it into the save game system will be added in. So it'll be the simple multiplayer Steam template will be the multiplayer template with, you know, inventory or with whatever. And I'll just keep expanding on it to make it however I want it. And since I'm using third-party blueprints or plugins, I can't put it on the marketplace because they don't like you to have third-party plugins for a plugin that actually should be frickin' part of the damn Unreal Engine to begin with. I'm gonna break you off of there, and I'm gonna put you in a custom event by yourself. Set player mesh. It's going to be this. Then I can plug that into here, set player mesh. So the previous button is just going to change the number. Yeah, I've done some migration back and forth on, like with the survival game kit. I've also got with, and I actually migrated my stuff to that one, and it was a whole kind of weird process, but what was it? Integer did decrement integer. So technically if I do that and then run set player mesh. Am I losing my mind here? I click the previous button, it's going to take one away from this number, and it's going to then go through this process with previous mesh. I need to change that to mesh number. Set player mesh. That needs to be in here, I think. I try not to think too much. Thinking hurts. There's usually a lot of smoke involved too. So I set player mesh. It's going to get the number and then assign the mesh to use, and then assign that to the skeletal mesh, and then punch it in through here. So I don't need EU stuff on here. I just need to clone out what I did here. So what I need to do now is integer increment and mesh number and set player mesh. All right, let's roll the dice. I'll give a few seconds here for everybody to get caught up. Will this work? Whenever I hit the previous button, it's going to take one away from the mesh number. And then it's going to run the set player mesh. In the set player mesh, it is going to do the same thing it's already doing. No. We need to rename this. Because I was trying to name it the same thing right here. Change mesh number. And then change mesh number. Okay. So, again, will it work? So let's review one more time. Will this work? When I click on the previous button, it takes one away from the mesh number. Then it's going to run the set player custom event, which is going to change the mesh number. The mesh number then checks to see if the number is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And if it is 1, use the white mesh. If it's 2, use the blue mesh, and so on. So it assigns the mesh to use here. And then it's going to cast to the player. In this case, it's the menu player. And it's going to change the skeletal mesh to use whatever is the current mesh to use that was assigned from here. Same thing for the other one. If I click the next button, it's going to add 1 to the mesh number and then run the set player mesh, which comes here and then runs this and then uses this to set the mesh. So what do you think? Will it work? All this combined together here just for changing the mesh of the player on the screen. About 10 seconds for everything to catch up. What are your votes? Yes or no? Will it work? Come on, save. Character. Set player name. So let's hit player name. Fudge Factory is my name now. I select my mesh. Next. Nothing. Next. There we go. Blue, green, red, yellow. Oh. So what do we do when we hit the end? Does it roll over to the very first one? And clicking previous does not work. Now it does. Why? So what do we do? The previous mesh is, let's exit. It sort of works. Gets the mesh number, the mesh to use. Let's assign it a default of, well, the white is the default one. So, what do we do when we get to the end? Because if we get to here, then if it's greater than 5, then set the number to 1. Or in this case, less than. So we're almost there. And let's see here. Integer. No, we have no clue what we're typing. Yeah, so that's what we're trying to do, is just how do we make it start over. So if the integer we're doing a minus here is less than 1, we'll set a branch node in here, less than 1. Then set our mesh number to 5 so that it's at the other end, so it just creates a loop. So again, over here, if this is equal to, or in this case, damn it, integer is greater than 5. So it's trying to go to the number 6. We don't want it to go to number 6. So we want it to go to number 1. True. Then we want to set to 1. So it's like clamping the value there. So we go to character, mesh, go to next. Nothing happened, but I hit it again and it cycles through. And I know how to fix that. I'll deal with it later. But we get to the end, and where was white? It keeps cycling through, but it's skipping the white guy. If it's goes back to 1, 1 is going to be the white character. Mesh number, mesh to use. Remove anything from the default there. But why is it skipping? And see, I click the button, nothing happens. I click it again, it goes to blue. Number 2 is blue. Goes to green, red, yellow. It should go to white. It did nothing. It did not go to white. It skips white completely and goes right to the blue. Which I'm okay with that. See, it should go from yellow to white and then white to blue. So watch whenever I get to yellow, I click next and it does not change to white. Yeah, with the mesh number to use, or mesh number, default is 0. So, I mean, if I change that to 1, character, mesh, next. Okay. But yeah, but I went from yellow, it didn't change, and then it goes straight to blue. Red, yellow, should be white right now. See, now it's white. But it's skipping yellow. Okay, so if it is less than 1, set it to 5. So it should go from, if it's less than white, it should go to yellow, because yellow is number 5. It's in this logic right here. Because it's going up and down. So yeah, I'm subtracting 1 from the specific value that I have. So if I change this number, which is defaulted to 1, if I hit that button while I'm on the white character, it's creating this as a 0. What if I change this to less than or equal to 0? Well, so if it's 0, then it goes to 5. So if it's less than or equal to, well, I don't think that's going to work. See, now if it's greater than 5, so this would then have to be changed to if it is greater than or equal to 6. Yeah, you would think 1 would be there. Basic logic, character, mesh, previous. No mesh at all. Skips right by yellow. Yeah, see that should be yellow. Skips right by white. But see, if it's equal to 1, we want it to stay 1. So we want to know if the integer is less than 1. If it is less than 1, set it to 5. And with this one, if it is greater than 5, set it to 1. That's what it should be. So if it's greater than 5, set it back to 1. Play character, mesh, next is blue, green, red, yellow, it should be white. Nothing happens. And if I click it again, it goes straight to blue. So it skips white completely. Get to yellow. The next click should be white, and it doesn't change. So let's fix the next button. Add 1 to the mesh and set the player mesh. Maybe if we do this, and then plug this in here, and if it's not, we still need to set the player mesh. That makes a little bit more sense. Not really. It made sense before, but, you know. So let's do the same thing over here and just see what happens. All I did was remove this. Bring this in here. there, so it's no matter what. Now, see, I could just put one in and put this pigtail and this pigtail in there, but this is going to work. So now, if it's less than 1, we need to set the number to 5 and then set a player mesh. If it's not, then we need to go ahead and set the player mesh. Go from white to blue on the first click. Green, red, yellow, white, blue. Yay! Perfect. Now let's do this. Absolutely perfect. That's the way it's supposed to work. We want this to actually commit. And this is committing it too. When we're hitting this, if I don't change anything whatsoever, and I just select the mesh, close that, now my character's green, set my name, Green Weenie, hit enter, my name is Green Weenie, hit character, and then I continue on with what I'm doing. One of the other things that I want to do as well is prevent the player from continuing past the main menu if they have not configured their character. So that you have to select your character and your character name, so that if you're not using the Steam architecture, you're using a LAN or you're using regular internet, you're forcing your character to save that data. So this is now, my character name is Green Weenie, I have a green skeletal mesh, and now I can play the game. So if I press on the next button right over here, which would be whatever, single player, then by clicking on that button right there for single player, then that will allow me to continue because I've already configured my character. So let's hit exit here. So that's what we need to do here is we've set our mesh. When we commit at least to our name, that's what we need to do. On text committed name entry block, we do all this stuff right here, and now we need to go ahead and has set name question mark enter boolean. So now we have that there, and we can do this set and yes. So now whenever I go to single player, so I'm going to go ahead and quickly just add in a button here. So we're in here. If I just click on single player, I want it to first off not let me go into single player and play the game because I have not set my name yet. If I click this, I want it to flash up on the screen, please select a player name, or please set up your character, or something like that. Force the player to actually set up their character before they can continue, is what I want. You know, whenever you look at this, this is actually, stop here. The main menu player, all it's doing is forcing you to have the mouse cursor, which is an absolute opposite of what I'm trying to do here. Setting a variable in here for the player name. This is going to go ahead and also commit to the save game. It's going to save this information to your basic save game and save it to slot and that kind of stuff. And it will save this as a different kind of save game. It will create it as your player name. It'll be a very, very limited information on this. At first, that save game's only going to have your player name, and it's only going to have, like, if it's Steam data, like your Steam username will be saved in that as well. If you are whitelisted or you are an admin or whatever, it can take that Steam username and that Steam unique ID and store that information into the save game. And whenever you're logging into a server then that somebody else has created, I'm going to try to work into this a whitelist system where the server has the ability to bring up, and only the server, to bring up a menu that lets them select a player by name. So if you look at the thing here, and it's got a character name and Beefalo Bart. You see my name in the game, might be over my head or whatever else, as Beefalo Bart. Or it could actually even be, a tag thing where I tag the player while I'm walking around, and I select them, and I can add them to whitelist, and it'll automatically save all their information to the whitelist of my server, so that I don't have to keep adding them to the whitelist. It'll save the server name of the server that I'm on, but it'll save that data on the server's save game information. So now whenever I log back into your server and you've already whitelisted me as a moderator or whatever, if you've selected me to be a moderator, then the next time I log into your server, it's automatically there. I'm automatically a moderator, and then I will have different capabilities. So it's selecting, creating a user level system, like admin, moderator, uh, normal player, asswipe, whatever you want to call them. You can actually create your own whitelist with a rank system and rank structure. And just for giggles here, let's actually make sure we save all. Go into lobby map. You can go away, and we want to use a regular player. Yeah, third person game mode. So I want the lobby map to be something different here. So as you're walking around, yes, I put a different, I got the health bar going straight up and down. So as you're walking around the map and you see Ding Dong over here, yeah, right now I got it set to spawn balls, lots and lots and lots of frickin' balls. Yes, they have a limited lifespan. You can only spawn them whenever you're in first person view. They'll just disappear after about 10 seconds. But the same basic principle is you can tag somebody, and you know you can save their information or whatever. Let's actually bring in a second player. New pie. Because everybody likes pie. Alright, so guess I could try to be nice and manipulate it so I got both of them somewhat on the screen here. Not that it really matters, but alright, so with both here, go in here. I'm the client. Of course, players don't have collisions with line trace unless you turn on specific thing. But you can set up the line trace to actually not spawn balls, and yay, balls everywhere. I don't know what I was doing with the ball spawn thing. I was just trying to think about something else, and yeah, fun, huh? But yeah, with the line trace, if you wanted to actually stop on another player, then you actually have to change the collision of the player. You see it's gets red all the way through. So only the person that's firing the line trace right now is going to see the line trace. I will turn off the red line of the line trace later. But if you want the players to be able to be actually hit, got a mesh Collisions, block all dynamic. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't keep that information. It remembers if I shove one on a different monitor, but it doesn't remember the thing unless I actually go in there and manually change it. So here's our client and our server. Now if I hit it and see, the balls get stopped by the player and the line turns green. Balls. So that way, as you're tagging a player, like see right here, if I'm an admin, then yeah, and I'm using the menu, it brings up the functionality of get player information. So as I tag that player, I can get their information and it'll show up on the widget or whatever else. Was just showing and talking about what the end result is. Oh, hello. I was just playing with my balls. But yeah, just why I'm doing a lot of what I'm doing towards the end project. Is so that can create all kind of different stuff in here. So that's good. This is fine. Let's go back to main menu map. So I hit. This is not how it's going to work. You have no player control right now, and this map is not going to be multiplayer. Main menu map is just going to be just the one player. What is this? This is the main menu map, right? No. So we hit play. Wrong character. Why are you... Main menu game mode. There we go. So yeah, there's my cursor and my character. And so I hit character here. Mesh. So besides having a character selection screen as part of this, which would be easy enough to change out the stuff on. So once I select my character, if I go to name now, I can do Buffalo Bart, and then we'll close that, and then whatever. Now that I've done my character, what I could do is now make this character button go away, and now only have single player and multiplayer. If I select single player, then I can select map. And then if I select multiplayer, then it'll bring up another little pop-up area down here that will say LAN, regular, or unleaded. I mean, Steam. So if you want to use a non-Steam based internet multiplayer, so if your buddies don't have Steam, which who doesn't have Steam nowadays, but seriously, if you don't want to use Steam, you can just go through a different route. So there'll be a single player, LAN, Steam, and just online. I don't know what to call the online, but you'll have the 4 different modes of gameplay. The information here, the player name and the player mesh, will be saved to a separate save game. You can have as many frickin' save games as you want. You could have 35 of them. This save game only saves my player's name. Okay. This save game only saves my player's mesh. Okay. Or for basics like this, I've configured my character. This is how I want my character to work. And from there, once I commit, like say, okay, I have set my player name. That's the bare minimums. So I probably need another button in here next to character, and that would be commit. I don't know. What do you think? So if I do character, I set my name, set my mesh. Oh, I don't like this mesh. I can come back to this. I want to be the yellow guy. Yeah, that's good. When I hit character again, if I want to continue, or if I want to come back. Um, I don't know. I could have like another button here or over here maybe that says commit. That way, yeah, I'll integrate the multiplayer part in later. I want to get the basic functionality of the menu going first, because really and truly, it's almost a matter of copy and paste my existing stuff in here. But I'm going to build the other parts first, and then I'll integrate my simple multiplayer Steam template so it will be working. Um, and the way I'm trying to do everything is make it so that it's really, really easy to bring in the Cinti Studio characters or whatever. Um, so that you can change your player mesh. And this is it. This is the player mesh. If I was using robots, go in here and go to mesh, as I'm scrolling through my actual player, and I may zoom in a little bit so the character is more full screen. You could do whatever you want in this map and actually make it to where it's, really cool stuff. Well, let's be the red guy. Name is fine. So yeah, it saved my name. You notice that whenever I went back to name, my name is still in there. So if I want to change it, I can click back in here, and I can actually change my name if I want to. But since I decided I didn't want to, I can click off of it, and it just closes it back down again. But what I've got to do is make it to where these transition a lot better. But once you've committed these, they're already going to save. I just want to make it to where it's easy enough for people to take this and make it work with whatever. So whenever, it doesn't matter, this character right here does not matter whatsoever right now, but, and it's because I am in this map right here. Whenever I commit and say single player, and then I go to my map selection screen, I could have a preview of the map or whatever else, or just a picture of the map or whatever I decide. But whenever I take it and say, okay, I want to go to single player, whenever I load that new map in, all this information, the current game mode and all that kind of stuff, will be configured for the individual map, and then it'll go right from there. So the player base, or your player character, you don't have to use player underscore base. I'm not going to do anything really and truly with the player underscore base for right now. Just has this little stupid, my ball launcher, and that's what I added in there, and the view changer, and that kind of stuff. Those are, it's just really basic. I haven't done really anything. I've done my event begin play, which make sure there's no mouse cursor, and it sets the player HUD. But you could set whatever player character you want in your map, and you just build it however you want. I'm just building the menu system that will actually get you into selecting, okay, I've created my character, and then I guess I could hit, I don't know. What do you guys think about for right here? Once we've committed to doing our character, we don't have any options whatsoever until we say, okay, we've given our character a name. Okay, I've committed to giving myself a name, and now I've unlocked the ability to continue if I want. But I can also change my mesh, and then, yeah, that's good. Or I can just hit that and close them all down. Now that I have changed my player name, and at least, then I can continue on to single player or multiplayer. So I want to have single player and multiplayer disabled So I guess what I could do is add in a second bar here, remove the character from that bar, or just shrink that bar down or whatever, and then have the other buttons visible, like over here maybe. Um, Maybe get a pop-up now that says single player, multiplayer. Then when I click on multiplayer, it then gives me the option LAN, um, uh, Steam, or online. And then when I select that, then it goes to, and do all the stuff over here in this bottom right-hand corner. I think that's what I'll do. Is before you can see this information over here, you have to have set your character. So whatever I build over here in this corner will be hidden, not collapsed, but hidden, um, so that I could probably just put this down here. I'm not going to mess with that. So I can create another vertical box or horizontal box, either one. Could do whatever for here, and just have two buttons, single player and multiplayer. So I'm actually going to do a horizontal box. And, well, before I worry about anchoring and positions and everything else, let's go ahead and put the two buttons in there. Close up some of these other things here so I don't have so much open. So horizontal bar, main mode box. Make sure it is a variable. And right now, put a button with text. And then I'm going to right click on this and copy, paste. So now I got two buttons there. So in my main mode box, I can now drag this over here. We will anchor this to the bottom, all the way bottom. So it positions it there. Yeah, it forces the characters to make a character. So whenever you log into my game, or into this game that I'm creating, or you're creating, or whoever, whenever you log in, if you don't set up your character, you can't go. You can't play. You have to at least set up your character's name. That way, whenever you go in there, if you go into a game that is LAN or is online but not Steam, you cannot go past this screen until you set up your information. You set up your character. Now, if you're on Steam, then I'll have to come back and say, okay, is it negative 100? No. What is this box? Negative 140. Yeah, for Steam, that way it's online with that one, sorry. It'll automatically have your player name. So then I'll need to figure out a way of saying, okay, player name was found, boom, use this information. So I'll get to that whenever I integrate the actual Steam functionality in. That way your player at least has a name, but you still have the ability to come back and change your information if you want to. Except for your Steam name. You want to be able to keep your Steam name, so, or not. I haven't got to that point yet. So this one, we need single player, and this one to be multiplayer. Multiplayer. And offset right. There. visible bar. Offset right of 50. And this will be negative 140. Close enough. This will actually be visibility. Change this to hidden. So it will not show up at all right now. And call this our single player button. And we'll call this one, instead of button, we want you to be, I'll just do MP button. Change it from SP. So to get that to show up, how do we get that to show up first? I mean, it won't show up at all until we look. It's not going to show up there. We set our character name, enter. We can change our mesh if we want to. And then we're done with character. Once we've committed to this, has set name, yeah. Oh, designer, this needs to, oh, okay, it is a variable. So the main mode box is hidden. We could probably do an event tick. I don't know. Can we? Yeah, we can do an event tick. Just to check. So the variable has set name. We'll get that. Just to check some functionality here. Branch. Has set name. If it is true, then main mode box. Get set visibility to visible. So the box is not there. Character, doesn't matter if we set our mesh or not. Go to our name. Frog Pecker. Hit enter. And there it is. Single player, multiplayer. So they won't even show up until we've actually set our name. I think maybe this should be down here. I think I'll put this down here on this bottom row. Move it over some. Negative 50. What did I have this button bar at? Navigation bar is 60. So it doesn't show up at all now until we've actually committed to changing our name. And that's the bare minimum. Name. Now we have a chance to go to single player and multiplayer. Now we can actually take this and keep our player visible and just do all of our stuff over here. Our name is Fucker. We can actually move that over here as well. We can put it wherever we want. can actually put in whatever you want. You could put in news. You could put in a web page. You could put in a YouTube video. You could put whatever you want, and be able to have this as a big data area. Maybe this would be the area where it shows a thumbnail for the map you can go to. Being that this is an actual map now, you could actually have shit going on in the background. People walking around, or bots, walking back and forth. Maybe a gunfight going on in the background, or people sitting there having a cup of coffee at a cafe. Whatever you want can be going on in this map background. Name right above the character. Well, I appreciate that. There are other people who actually do the multiplayer stuff, but they tend to be stingy. So just put it right here in the center, you think? The size of this is... Can I get by with 150? Okay. So... -75 by 50. Lower it down a little bit. It should be all centered still. No, it's not. Center justification. Thank you. Compost and save. Yeah, we want it centered. I could lower it down, if it mattered. Should I have it like right here, or is it okay up there? Let's change the position. Well, in my Discord channel, if it's just general whatever, that's why I have General Mayhem. If it's for the Unreal Engine 4 based stuff, I've got a separate room just for general UE4 or specific other stuff. I would love to see not just, okay, I can have Discord running in whatever and show it in the game or something like that. Ooh, that's too low. I want actual Discord chat and voice controls like right here in the game, where I can actually access Discord as part of the game, not as an overlay, but as part of the game. Use their voice and their text chat, because that's one of the other things I'm going to put in here is, and I kind of hate to do it, but it needs to happen, is a chat system. Not in this menu, but when you go to an actual lobby, the first lobby map, or wherever, need to have a chat window so you can communicate with people who don't have microphones. So short term, I'm going to put in a small chat box. So here, set player name. I can't do anything until I change my name. Frog Monkey. See, I can't get rid of these just yet. I'm done with my character. I can minimize it there if I want to. Now, for these buttons right here, I can go into single player, boom, go into the select your map. If I select multiplayer, then I need this to go away, and I need the option here of LAN, Steam, or LAN online Steam. And I'm up in the air about what to do with this exit button. All I did was I took a couple screenshots of frickin' the exit button on Windows, and not even on this. I just did it on. I had YouTube up or whatever, and it just took 2 screenshots, and I made one for normal and one for mouse over. See, up and down. I got TechnoAxe logo in there because I was going to add some music in the background, but you see I move all the normal meshes. They're in here. Cube material. That's the little. That's my balls. As it just set lifespan of 10 seconds is all I did on those. Yeah, stay motivated here. All right, so this box. There was another frickin' justification that I had. Alignment. I don't remember what the hell I did. Yeah, I generally suck at doing these menus and that kind of stuff. See, the letters are now going over. I have to do auto. There's no real padding in between. Can add padding in if I wanted to and do all that kind of stuff. You can make it play a sound when you mouse over it by putting it in here, where you press the button, that kind of stuff. So like I did with up here, this button, normal, hovered, pressed, pressed sound, or you can hover sound, that kind of crap. Alright, so this is already a variable. So single player, multiplayer, we can actually go ahead and hide that. We don't need to see it. We don't need to see. Well, we'll leave that visible for now. We don't need this viewed. We don't need that. So minimizing the amount of stuff that we have open so we can actually see what the hell we're doing. So we click on multiplayer. So I'll work on the basic functionality of that. Get ready to get out of here. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. Hey, I did good. Used to be that was freaking out at the 1-hour mark because I haven't had a cigarette in an hour. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit better. I'm trying to quit smoking. It is not easy, especially whenever you've been smoking for, I don't know, almost 40 years. Yeah, it's kind of difficult to quit. Usually by the hour mark, I'm panicking. Like, I gotta stop so I can go have a smoke, I do not smoke near my computer. So, yeah, I don't smoke next to the computer because I've got a monitor I can't use anymore. Even if I fixed the minor problem that it had, the main problem that it has is I've smoked near that monitor for many years, and it's yellowed behind the monitor. The inside portion of the monitor is, not the part you can touch, but the reverse part of the was it the Fresnel or whatever the lens. Ooh, I really gotta clean this shit up here. I'll clean up later. Unclicked multiplayer button. We need the. If you can't remember what you called something, you can always come back over here and oh, okay, it was the main mode box, and then you go back to your graph, and it's selected right there. Yeah, I smoked so much near that old freaking monitor that it left a yellow haze on the interior portions of the monitor. And you know, I let, well, currently my ex-wife, but at the time I let the wife borrow that monitor because I have these three. On-click view widget, hide widget. But because I'm not actually using individual widgets, I'm just showing and hiding stuff. Like right now, I just told it to hide the the main mode box. A lot of people I've seen will actually go through and they will pull up another widget, pull up another widget over here, another widget over there. I'm building everything into one friggin' file, so I don't have 54 widgets just for the frickin' main menu. So now that I've created my name, I has a name fucker. Hit enter. Now I got these two. Single player button's not doing anything. Multiplayer, I didn't. What'd I do? Main mode box. Set visibility hidden. Oh, it won't because of the way that I did EU. I has set name, and because I am, holy shit, I gotta clean this thing up. That's why I like keeping everything clean here. On the event tick, yeah. See, we got to get rid of that event tick. Because I have it running on the event tick, it's checking that variable every freaking frame, and it's not letting me hide this because it just keeps throwing it back visible again. So we have to put something else here on that. Once we have our name visible, we can see that. Where's our set player name? Has set name. Well, we can actually do this and that. So that should work to bring it up. However, that's going to invite a bug here. And it's just not going to show up. You can't click anything. It's not there. Name. Dumb. Ass. So single player does nothing. Multiplayer just hides that. And I want to hide this as well. So that was the character button bar thingamajiggy. So we'll have another one of these. Plug you in, and again, can't remember what it is. You can always come back to character creation bar. Plug that in there. So that'll hide that as well. I think there might be a bug in here somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Doesn't matter with the mesh. Yellow. Go to change our name. Frog. Dick. Hit multiplayer. Those are all gone. But do we want this to go away as well? Oh, okay. See, do we want that to disappear? Thinking no. So we can always come back to this and actually hide our shit here. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some other stuff to get this to work correctly. I know that it's not going to come back up right now because I haven't done anything once I've told it to actually hide that bar and that bar. Um, because we're actually going to go into a game now. We've said multiplayer. So then we have to create a back button and then be able to allow visibility of other things. So at this point right here, we're just killing that off, and we haven't told it to display anything just yet. So we can take that and hide that bar. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is we can definitely use a back button to get back to that information. Um, so now we would have to then go ahead and create that multiplayer bar. And so therefore we're going to have 3 modes and a back button. And you can add like arrows and that kind of stuff. These are just basic buttons. You can change the appearance of them as you need to. I just want functionality with only assets that I've created or are from Unreal Engine or Epic themselves. So we need another horizontal bar, horizontal box. Horizontal box, we just do that. Not worried about the orientation just yet. No, get in there. Thank you. This is going to be the multiplayer selection box. That button, I'm just going to drag text on it. I'm not going to do anything with it just yet. So we need back and then 3 game modes. So I'm going to copy. You can Control C and Control V, but by doing it this way, you can actually see what I'm doing. So I click on the box and paste. Click on the box, Control V, and click on the box, Control V. 4 buttons. Haven't set the text on anything just yet, so. Again, once you're doing stuff down here, you can copy this information too and paste it throughout the rest of them. So you're not like, oh crap, I just screwed myself over on all these buttons. So let's make this one to be back. You can do manual padding in here, and we'll look at that, or we can actually put in a regular spacer so that we can kind of manipulate things a little bit more control wise. So got our back button. If you want to put in a spacer, you can select the box here, go to primitive, spacer, then that spacer, let's put in 10, or is it 10 here? I forget. But yeah, it allows you to put a little spacer in between here, and you can make that as. Yeah, every time I say the word spacer or I see it written somewhere, now I can't help but think of Ivan Miranda, 3D printing channel, where every time he makes a spacer and he puts it into whatever he's working on, he just yells out, spacer! So, yeah. Hey, you'd have to, yeah, whatever. I'm going to call this our MM back button for multiplayer menu back button. It says back, so we want LAN. LAN. And since I've already created a spacer, I could actually just copy that and then grab it, throw it in here. So I can manually put the spacing in that I want. Again, setting up user interfaces, there's a half dozen ways to do everything. So we just need one more. And I'll drag it up here. So now there's a manual space in between. So back button, LAN button. And this would be online. Online. Oh, gotta be a capital letter. And then this is gonna be the Steam button. Steam button. Oh, but yes, back up. Nobody told you to close. Damn it, get back over there. There's about 400 different ways you can make it look pretty. I'm just going to put it right there. Anchor it to the bottom. And -60. Where did I anchor you? Okay, you're on the bottom too. Okay. Multiplayer selection box is a variable. Remember to click that. So, multiplayer selection box. Let's go to our graph here. Unclicked multiplayer button. And now we need to have you in here. And set visibility. So in theory, now if we go to, we'll get the back button and all that stuff later. All right, so that's visible now. We don't need that visible now. Oh, because I'm stupid, you have it selected. Hidden. Right there. Forgetting a step. There. It's not there. I can't click on anything accidentally. I can't cheat my way through. So character, name, dumbass, single player. No, let's go to multiplayer. Yay. Let's go. Back button would then go back to the single multiplayer buttons. And then LAN, online, Steam. So I'm creating all this functionality inside this one freaking blueprint, and I'm not having to put 43 different freaking widgets in here. So yeah, once back, we'll hit that. So then it's just a matter of going back in here. I don't need this my player open anymore. So we hit the back button. Scroll down here if you want, and unclicked. We need to get a multiplayer selection. So you're getting a lot of stuff in here. Like I said, this is, you can either copy and paste, or you can, you can find your stuff a bunch of different ways. So get this, and we want this to, just grab this, Control C and Control V. We want to hide your ass, and from here we want to bring the main mode box back. So main mode box, bring you in here, get you, and if you want to be lazy, Control C, Control V. That was already set to be visible. That's why I grabbed that one. So, character name as clown. Let's go to multiplayer. Back. There we go. Single player or multiplayer. Oh, but I want to change my character again. And change my mesh. There we go. And go to multiplayer. I want LAN or online or Steam. Boom. There we go. Well, see, I like being lazy as hell too whenever it comes to all this stuff. But if I'm building this for you and for Doom and for, you know, for everybody else that's already bought the Simple Multiplayer Steam template, I'm not building it lazy for my ass. I'm building it lazy for your ass. Okay? So I have to go around my asshole to get to my elbow and go out of my way to make things easy for you to just be able to quickly change things around. Whenever I create the core, and let me explain this really quickly, and then I am going to go ahead and take a break and get out of hell for a little bit. Whenever I create the core system, I'm not going to be able to put anything on the marketplace. But keep in mind that these are all assets that I have either paid for, have been given by the developers of the assets, things like that. Oh yeah, the copy and paste, I freaking love it. I do it all the damn time. I take a hell of a lot more shortcuts than I show you guys on the videos. And no, I haven't done anything to clean up these maps, so don't give me crap about the maps yet. You know how I am about my cleaning up my maps. But all of the stuff that I'm putting into my core are things that I legitimately purchased and or have legitimately been given by the developers of those things. So they're all legit stuff that I have access to. It's not like I'm going to give out City Studios assets because that's their stuff. That's how they make their money. But whenever it comes to the animations and stuff, my core, if I decide later to sell the core, it'll be strictly under the table, and I'm not trying to, cut anybody else's throat or stab anybody else in the back or whatever. But if I were to make a core, and I'll explain what the core is here in just a second to establish value of it. Once I build the core, if I put that up as a item I sell like I do in a Simple Multiplayer Steam template for $100 or $200 or whatever, whatever the price may be, what would be obtained by doing this is, as you can see right now, if I hit play on this, yeah, just ask me and I'll do a stream whenever. But normally it's gonna be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then I just kind of do whatever I need to on the weekends. I'm gonna try to change it to where I do my gaming streams on the weekends, and Unreal Engine 4 stuff during the week. Cause ain't nobody paying me shit for watching me play video games. But I get more tips and donations and sales and so forth from Unreal Engine 4 stuff. So if that's going to be my bread and butter for making money, then yeah, I need to be spending more time during the week with that kind of stuff. So if you need me to stream something or you have specific questions or need to see something, let me know. But if it's something that I can stream for a lot of people to see, then I'm good. I'll make up a stream and go for it. But if it's something that's individual that only you need, then not saying you have to, but it'd be nice if you kind of throw me a little bit of cheddar, a little tip every now and then. But basically, the core system is like we see here. I build the whole basic menu system that's easily modifiable, and go into multiplayer, go into Steam. So you get the Steam architecture and basic architecture, LAN and single player and all this stuff in here. And then when you actually go into, what I'll do really quickly is go back for now, single player button, just to show how that basically translates through. In here, go to single player button. All right, that's cool. Just let me know. I'm in and out, like I said, on Discord, where it says in and out with a little hand waving for my status. I'm in and out of this room at all odd hours, day and night. So there's no telling when I'm going to be sitting here at this computer. So shits and grins right now. Unclicked. When you click the single player button, this is very, very complicated to do here. Let's see. Open level. Forget the name of the level. Go to where your maps folder is. I'm going to use this. I'm going to hit F2, Control C, click off of it, go back here. Put this. Single players, I don't need to worry about anything else, but if it's multiplayer, then you need to come in right here, and in options, you need to put in listen. So now, if I do this, all right, cool. Yeah, I didn't know. Sometimes putting together the YouTube names with the Discord names, it kind of throws me off. And remember, I'm old as fart. Dirt. Yeah, I didn't say the other F word that I was going to say. I'm trying to clean up my fucking act. I mean, my freaking act a little bit. Character name. Click on single player and poof. Now I go right in and I start playing. I didn't need a transition map because these maps are tiny. But so now that's it. You know. However, I haven't built in my escape menu functionality and escape menu and that kind of stuff. I'll get that in here. V, and I can play with my balls. I can play with my balls. Yay, play with my balls. I can also go back into my character, blueprints, player base. Right here, change my line trace by channel, and change this to none, so it doesn't show that little line. So now when I hit play, oh, okay, I gotta create a new character. I haven't created a save game stuff yet, so Anal Avenger, and go to single player. And then I can play with my balls. And my balls are replicated, by the way. I have multiplayer replicated my balls. I'll have you know they're not blue right now. But like always, my balls are only here for a limited time only. So get them now before they're gone. Hey, I'm a dirty old fucker. What do you want? I didn't put like bounce. I didn't put a projectile movement or anything. It's just spawning. It was just something that I was thinking in my head that I completely abandoned and went with something totally different. So it's just there, you know. So I'll actually put in the escape menu functionality or hit the tilde key. Well, I can't do that because Unreal Engine uses that. So, yeah, not a bad start, you know. Spent a lot more time talking than I actually did working. The character name, enter mesh. I need to go ahead and set up the save game stuff so that when I select this right here, even without hitting commit, by hitting the next button, I have committed my character to being this mesh. If I hit the next button, now I'm this mesh. What happens is whenever I click that button, it's going to save that to my save game that I'm going to have specifically for my player information, my player name, and my main mesh. There's only two other things I'm going to have in there for right now in that save game. I'm going to do it as a save game. So it saves as a file. I mean, I will probably go outside, sit down, have a smoke, and think, oh shit, I don't need to do it on save game. I need to do this in the game instance or whatever. But I'll figure out how I want to store that information so that it's there, so that whenever you actually go into a single player map, it actually has that information stored. Even though it's a totally different player character, it'll pull that information in and set my mesh to whatever it is in that saved data. So that information is saved. So if I'm not doing Steam, then I'll have a name attached to my character. And why do I need a name attached to my character? Because if you do a first-person shooter or a third-person multiplayer shooter, then whenever I throw my balls at you and they hit you and they cause you damage, then I need to know that I was the instigator of causing you damage with my large balls. So if I wanted to, I could put a sign up here, a big billboard, and it would say, like right across here, Beefalo Bart, 1 kill. And I could track that information. Or it could be a kill feed across here saying, Beefalo Bart killed Ass Monkey. With huge white balls. So that way you have your instigator and your data you can save for that. And data's good. Pow. Come on. Yep. There we go. All right. Any questions before I kick out of here? This was actually a good, solid 2-hour stream that I didn't flake out on. If you guys want me to stream more, it's 11:15. I do need to eat something. If you could see me, I'm just wasting away to nothing. I've probably lost at least 1/3 of a pound just sitting here. But I put it back in coffee. But yeah, you fat ass bastard. Yeah, yeah. I can just keep showing other progress in here. Once I get the menu hammered out a little bit more, then I want, like I said, the menu with the this part done. So when I go to multiplayer and you select the Steam, I'll have my Steam and all the basic architecture ready to go. Hopefully, if you guys keep me motivated, then I'll have this shit done by the weekend. But if not, then I'll just drag it out. But we'll get the basics. And again, I think Wednesday stream, I should specifically talk about the core, and I'll be able to show this a little bit more in detail. I'm going to keep working on it a little bit more tonight, and then I'll probably do some more raft or some kind of shit like that. But essentially, the core is going to be this multiplayer system and single player system, menu system, and all that stuff. Kind of like with a simple multiplayer Steam template, and how well it works and how integrated it is. But I also plan on adding in animations and yeah, just yell at me on Discord. I never check the YouTube messages. Whenever I'm streaming, talking, there's a stream chat. I can see that also. I've got as an example, my streaming software is on my left monitor. I can see chat there. Discord is actually on the right monitor. Oh, hold up here. You're saying that you're older than I am, and okay. Maybe you're missing out a little bit on some of the back information. This past October, I turned 51. So, yeah. I think I got you by a little bit. I'm not saying that as a contest or anything, but yeah, I have to back you up on that one. So yeah, I've got Discord on the right, and I've got my streaming software on the left, and well, you see what's on the center monitor right there. So, whenever I'm doing stuff, I've got that chat in the stream is more than good enough. Whenever I'm not streaming, then I've got Discord up all the time whenever I'm doing other stuff. So And that's why I hate mentions, because you guys know that I'm always watching my freaking Discord channel. I always know when somebody sends a message. If I'm here, I will respond if I feel like it. But that's why I hate mentions. I'm right here looking at them. The only reason why I use the at here mentions is let you guys know, hey, I'm getting ready to stream, because sometimes I'm a shithead and I don't get on my streams going on time. But technically speaking, I try to shoot for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, roughly. Well, I appreciate the sound younger part. Um, you would think with, like almost 40 years of smoking, I'd sound like some old bar chick, some fat bar chick, Yeah. Not that I know what fat bar chicks sound like. Hey, did I mention I got to pee? But y'all give me a shout on Discord. I'm going to get out of here, take a break for a little bit. I may do some more on this right now. I may not. But like I said, it started off as a test on something that I completely abandoned and totally started working on my core again. But I will explain Wednesday what the core is. Just don't let me forget that that's what I'm going to do on Wednesday. I'll explain the core. But if I sell the core, then essentially it's a freaking game in a box, and all you need to do is add your characters and build your freaking maps. I'll have the animations in there for sword combat, weapon combat, pistols, rifles, shotguns, archery, throwing items, grenades, and all the basic animation systems in. If I feel like continuing with that far and having all that stuff into the core, and then basically what you're getting is it won't be cheap, but like I said, it's because I've already bought the asset pack. I could just say, okay, you go buy these asset packs, and then you can have it for this price. But you know what? It's going to be under the table shit. So probably about $200, $100 or $200, because it'll probably have close to 1,000 animations. It'll have multiplayer replicated combat systems. It'll have no characters. It'll just be the UE4 mannequin only, but hundreds of freaking animations. I mean, I've got stuff just for like idle, lazy background animations and waving and push-ups and sit-ups and sitting down in chairs and all that kind of stuff. I've got close to 300 animations just in that. Hundreds of animations just for rifle combat and pistol combat, and then sword and shield, and one-handed swords and two-handed swords, and archery. I got archery animations. Pretty much you're looking at close to 6, 7, 8, 900 animations in one pack. That pretty much all you have to do is create a map, select your game mode, select your player character, and off you go. Put your characters in there. I'm not going to do any AI or anything like that in there. But if you want to add your own AI in there, go right ahead. Or if you just want to be player to player or whatever, basically out of the box, you'll just be able to open up the project and go. Like I said, just put in your characters and change the character meshes over. So you have your different player meshes. You've got your menu system like this, so whenever you go to your character and your mesh, you can actually change meshes. And tell you the goal is, I've got a 1960 Jeep, or Willys Jeep, sitting in my backyard that I got a brand new starter for it. I need to get a radiator, brakes, and a lot of shit for that old beater. It hadn't run since probably the 80s. I want that son of a bitch driving this summer. So if I've got to get in here and spend 40 hours a week hammering away at, I know, tough life, hammering away at this core system, or little things like the simple multiplayer Steam template, or there was some dumb shit that I was working on, like there was a template for golf that I was working on. Um, got the concept for a chess game. Little things like that to, you know, build some functionality, build some things that I can sell to make money, to pay for, let my hobbies pay for my hobbies, essentially. So if I want that Jeep to be running by summertime or midsummer, then I got a lot of shit to do to get products out to make some money. I got to get my ad system working correctly. I need to get some web hosting somewhere where I can have my images online for testing wise, at least. Or at least get a commercial Dropbox or commercial uh, Google Drive account. But like this golf thing, it's half-assed. It works. It's nothing special, but was building the template system for doing a golf game template, so to speak. Maps. Test map. Where it's just like creating a little putt-putt golf course. Not really so much focused on the actual course itself, but the mechanics of playing. So use right now just set. You can see the numbers on the left going up and down, so you know your power wheel of how much power you're putting into it. In fact, no, I think I only need about 600. Try 700. But you can, wherever you're looking is where the there's no arrow yet. I'll put an arrow in maybe to help for newbies, so you can drop it in the hole. Then it automatically moves you to the next hole. This hole sucks because trying to get it to go up the hill without bouncing too hard and then be able to get around there. And then the bastard rolls back down the hill again. And you can't just shoot until it's dropped below a certain velocity. So I was trying to get all kind of shit in here to. I gotta smooth out that transition. It keeps causing the ball to jump there. So loosen up behind him. See, I can't shoot until it slows down. The first version of this, as I'm sitting here trying to do this, it was actually out of bounds. Son of a bitch. So it resets you back on the course. And it's got a stroke counter. You fucker. It's the transition, but on the BSP geometries that I use to create this. Fuck you. Get out of the damn hole there. But yeah, you get the idea. Just to make a golf template, or I was doing the chess template where it would just be UE4 mannequins, but essentially I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. I know it's probably going to annoy some people, but like Wizard chess or Star Trek chess or whatever. Basically, a combat mode of chess that where when the you send your pawn across, and I was thinking about my own version of chess instead of just using all the conventional rules of chess. Or okay, your pawn can only move, well, for the first time it can move 2 spaces or 1, or if you're knight it can move 1 and then either left and right 2, or forward 2 and then left and right 1. No, why not make my own freaking rules? To do my own version of combat chess where whenever my pawn wants to invade your pawn's space, he pulls out a sword and starts kicking his ass. And either kills him straight up, or adds elements of like Dungeons and Dragons, where you have a chance to find a weapon or find armor and yeah, whatever. Just make your own shit. And see, that's the thing is, so many people make. Oh, I want to make chess. How many frickin' chess games do we need on the market? So make your own version of chess. Survival game kit. It's awesome. But how many more survival games do we need? How many more ways can you twist a survival game to make it unique where somebody would actually want to buy it? So that's my thing, is I'm trying to get you guys to actually be creative. Come up with your own concepts and ideas. Well, how many more golf games do we need? So, yeah. Okay, so it drops in the cup, and then it takes you to the next hole. Of course, there's only one hole here. But what if I, had it actually go down into a tube and then go over to some other location or whatever else? That's the whole thing, is be creative or don't be. I mean, there's, like I said, there's so many people that are making the same game over and over and over again. Have your own spark of creativity. Yes, I know there's 5,000 freaking golf games out there. But this was just an example of what I was doing on other shit. Too short. Or was it? Perfect. Add more, if you're going to do a golf game, then add more effects to it. Like, there's a cannon right there. Why not, if I hit a certain thing with the ball, it fires a cannonball out there and sinks that ship? Or there might be somebody teetering on something and they fall in and the sharks eat them, or whatever, Creativity. What happens if I really just goose the shit out of this ball and hit the chest? It goes out of bounds. So if it's out of bounds, then how do I get back in there? I don't think I set up the... Well, this one I set up an out of bounds box that you put around the outside of the thing. Yeah, I didn't do it on this one. So, yeah, just some creativity in life with your games, that is. I need to finish the ad system, like I said. If you guys are interested in the golf thing, let me know. I got the clock project that I finished and never did continue with. Chess. Like I said, with a chess game, make my own freaking modes, Be your own person. Make your own designs. Maps. Come on, load the shit up. So, thank you. So, like your pawns move one space, or, instead, on the first move, they can actually move 2 spaces. But yeah, I mean, you can do wizards, chess or combat chess, where if, these 2 pawns are trying to occupy the same space now. This guy's going to make his move and he wants to get here, then he needs to pull out a freaking dagger and shove it in this guy's gut and kill him. If he falls over dead, then despawns. How else would you take the character off the screen? Your king, your queen, your bishop. You don't have anything for the rooks and castles, but the rooks and knights, but yeah. Didn't want to like put a horse here or something like that, but I need something for those guys. And yes, I have a character to walk around just so I can look at the characters. But so yeah, I mean, come up with your own routines and own shit. The player build system, that one worked out pretty good. The survival game kit, I've already got that working okay. Somebody was supposed to tell me whether or not they wanted their save game data stored on the client or the server, so I quit working on it until they get me that information. So I'm going to work on my project until they tell me where I'm going with theirs. Really cold coffee. yes, this is going to be loud, but... Alright, extra points. They've found... Yes, they're all Cindy characters, and that's Techno-X music, but tell me who these two characters will look like when they're standing next to each other. I know they remind me of a YouTube couple, married couple. I still got some refining to do on this frickin' chair system. Is bugging the hell out of me. Because now that happens every now and then. But not always. So, just one of those things I'm just going to have to address. He sat down perfect, and I think it's the animations being buggy again. So yeah, this is... I love Sydney Studios assets. I freaking love that song by Techno-X, so... Alright, I'm good out of here. Love you guys. Even when it's cold, and it is cold. So, if you have any questions, concerns, you want to pitch in on anything, or whatever, just let me know on Discord. So, yeah, I probably will get rid of this exit button right here and just put a bigger exit button. So, alright guys, I'm good out of here. I'll see you later.